You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. Hey there friends, how's it going? David Potts here with Song Notes, and a lesson today for You Are My Sunshine. I'm going to base this off the Johnny Cash recording of this song from his 2003 album, but it'll work for any version of the song you have in mind. I'll be doing it in the key of A, and I have this 4-page sheet music written up for you. This is officially licensed and legal, it's for individual purchase, and it's going to give you the lyrics and the tab for the intro with the melody notes included all on page 1. I'll give you the chords, and I'll give you strumming patterns and chord progressions and advanced strumming stuff, and 2 different ways to play the melodies on pages 2, 3, and 4. So it's a great way to follow along with this lesson if you want to learn this song. I'm going to start off with some beginner-friendly stuff, just the basic chords, basic strumming. Then I'll get into some intermediate and advanced strumming stuff, right, with bass note strumming and some alternating bass notes. And in the end, the last part of the lesson, I'll talk about the melody, how to play the melody at the same time as the chords. And I'll show you 2 different ways to play that melody. So it's all included in this sheet music, and you can follow along with that or this video lesson and get on with this song. So let's get right to it. Again, check out my website, playsongnotes.com. The best way to search all my stuff. It'll link out to the places you can get my sheet music and my PDFs. So check that out, and let's waste no more time and get into this song, y'all. You Are My Sunshine by Johnny Cash. Let's do it. All right, y'all, so let's kick off this lesson by looking at the chord shapes we're going to need for this song. So the good part is we only need these 3 chords, right? These are all major chords, and these are all very, very, very beginner-friendly chords. We have our A major, okay? I have these written out in tab format as well as fretboard format to suit your fancy, right? You have your A, you have your D, and your E, okay? For the A, now you can play it typically with 3 fingers in a row. I'm guessing a lot of folks play it like that, right? Open, second, 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 open. From the 5th string to the thinnest. We're not going to play the 6th string. I sort of lean my thumb into it. That way it won't accidentally make a sound. For the A, though, what I like to do is do this sort of triangle shape with my fingers. I have a separate lesson teaching you this. If you ever have trouble fitting your fingers in that 2nd fret, try this triangle shape. I find it's easier for bigger fingers or smaller guitars. And the cool thing about this shape, really quick while I'm here, is you keep your index finger on the 3rd string, and you can play the D, and then you keep it on that string, slide it down a fret, and then you can play the E. And when you go back to the A, you just slide it. So the cool thing, again, about this way to play the A major, as I talked about, is your index finger is going to stay on that string for all 3 chords. So learn these chords, get good at going between them, playing them cleanly, because that's going to be an essential skill. Now later in this lesson, I'm going to come back to this idea of adding flourish to these chords. I'm not going to get lost in that right now. This is a bit too early in the lesson for that. But these are ways that you can sort of add some notes to each of these chords to just make them sound a little bit nicer. You can add the notes, remove them. So I'll come back to that. That'll factor in with the melody stuff we're going to talk about a bit later. So that's in my sheet music if you want to pick up that. Anyway, let's move on to the chord progressions now, right? And really this song uses one progression for the entire song. The intro, the verse, the chorus all uses this progression. And when we say progression, what that means simply is the order we play the chords in and how long we stay on each chord, right? Now, whether you play it fast or whether you play it slow, this is going to apply. And the idea here is, you see the counting, right? The 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... However fast or slow you play the song, you want to have a steady tempo with that count. And the idea is you can you do a single down strum. The simplest way to play this song is do a single down strum of the chords I have written out on the highlighted counts, right? So let's do a measure to count it in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A and 2 and 3 and 4 and A, 2 and 3 and 4 and D and 2 and 3 and 4 and A, 2 and 3 and 4 and D, 2 and 3 and 4 and A, 2, 3 and 4 and A, 2 and E, back to A, 2, 3, 4, right? You could sing along and just do that, a single strum on each chord change. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. you might have noticed there that I was keeping my right hand kind of pulsing in time. And the main idea there is to really, you want to feel, at least the way I sort of experience music and play guitar is, you kind of want to feel that tempo with your body. So whether you're tapping your foot or you're nodding your head or you're sort of keeping your hand moving, it really makes strumming easier, in my opinion, if your hand is already sort of in sync with that tempo, even if you're only doing a single down strum on each one count, right? So that's a little tip there. So whether you do crazy strumming or a single down strum, that's going to be the progression. That's a great part about it. And speaking of strumming, let's talk about that now. So if you're just getting started, I just showed you that one count, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, if you want to level that up a little bit and add a little bit of a difficulty to it without getting too crazy yet, you could do a down strum on every one count and 3 count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a great thing to practice. You don't even need to do chords yet. You can mute the strings like this and just do 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You get the idea, right? So let's go through the progression one more time and do that, right? So 1, 2, ready, go. A, 2, 3, 4 and A, 2, 3 and 4 and D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3 and 4 and D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3 and 4 and A, then to E, then to A, 2, 3 and 4 and A. So you get the idea there. So again, those would be 2 very beginner-friendly strumming patterns I would recommend. Practice doing those chord changes, making sure you can play the chords cleanly, do the chord changes, and when you're ready to bring in a tempo, some counting, do it really slow, and just do it slow enough where you can do the clean chord changes. It might be feel really slow, but find a pace that you can sustain. Get through the entire progression. It's only those 8 measures, and do the 1 count only, then the 1 and the 3 count, and then you'll be in good shape. Practice that a bit. You're not going to get it at first if you're just starting off especially, but that's a good thing to start with. Now let's move on to some little intermediate skills here with our strumming. So say you want to pick things up a little bit. Here's how I would recommend doing things. We're going to bring in some up strums here, and really with our strums, we're also going to do some strums where we're not always strumming all the strings. Because when you do that, you're kind of limiting the amount of nuance and the elegance that you can introduce to the song. So what we're going to do, and try doing this if you can, is on the 1 count and the 2 count and the 3 and the 4. So the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 count, we're going to sort of just strum the bass string, or maybe the bass 2 strings of whatever chord we're playing. Okay? And then we're going to do a down up on the thinner strings. Okay? So if you just took the A chord, for example, it would look like this, right? Bass, down up, 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 bass, down up. Then you go to your D. Go back to A for a second. And then let's go to E next. Okay, I usually call this bass note strumming in a lot of my lessons because it's a common technique you use all over the place, right? Now, the way I've written this out, if you want to count it, is I have 16th notes written out, right? 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Now, don't let that complication scare you away. If it seems crazy, you can do this without the counting, really, as long as you have a sense of when to do the chord changes. But what we're going to do here is play the progression again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Let's do the whole thing, right? Progression here. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. Okay, so I was just doing the exact strum I have written out. The bass note, down, up, bass note, down, up, bass note, down, up, bass note, down, up. And sort of doing that for the existing progression I already showed you. So that's a next sort of level up if you want to sort of bring in a bit of strumming skill to this. Now, we can take it even further and do some alternating bass notes. And what I mean by that is take what we just did, but every time you play the bass note, instead of repeating the bass note, for each chord, we're going to sort of go between one string and another string, one string and another string. So for the A, I'm going between the 5th string, 6th string, 5th string, 6th string. So that would be trickier because you have to sort of aim with your pick. Now the D, I'm going between 4th string, 5th string, 4th string, 5th string. If you miss a string like I just did there, I missed that bass note, just keep going. Keeping your tempo often is much more important than getting clean strums all the time. If you have to mess up with one, I think it's better to mess up with some of your pick strums missing, but keeping the tempo, at least in my opinion, right? And then for the E, 6th string to 5th string. Okay, and again, this is a skill you're going to learn. You're going to use this in all kinds of songs, so it's worth investing in and practicing. Even if you do it really slow, you get your guitar, either walk around, is what I do, pace around the living room, or just watch TV or watch sports or something. You know, and even if you don't use a pick, you can do this with your finger. I'm using my thumb. Go to that D, and then to the A, and then next we're going to go to that E, and then back to that A. Okay, so that's what you're going to do there, and if we were to play, let's do the chorus just like that to see what it sounds like, right? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. I've always loved you and made you happy, and nothing else could come between. But now you've left me to love another, and you have shattered all of my dreams. The lyrics of this song are a bit dark sometimes, I guess, when you sing the verses. So anyway, that's how you do the alternating bass note strumming. A great skill to learn in general. And the last thing I want to talk about in this lesson is just how to do sort of melody notes, right? The melody notes meaning this. Okay, so what we're doing there is we're playing the melody you would sing, but we're playing it on our guitar, and then you can also add strumming to it too. Now I have a whole separate lesson just on this topic for this song, and I show you the process of how to figure out what those melody notes are for this song. It's a vitally valuable skill. I think if you can do this with every song you learn, you're going to come really far as a guitarist and a musician, but it's tricky to do. So check out my other lesson if you want to see me work these out in real time. But in this lesson and in my sheet music, I show you 2 different ways here. Let me show you this real quick. I show you 2 different ways to sort of do the melody, both up here and an octave lower. And then in my other lesson, I show you the process again. And then of course you can add the full strums on each one count whenever you're changing chords to those melody. So the first one we're going to look at is up here, right? The octave higher version. And the main way to think about this is all these melody notes are, for the most part, coming out of the chord shapes you're already playing. You're playing your A, you're playing your D, you're playing your E. And remember those chord bits of nuance I was talking about earlier? Let's look at those again. For our A, we want to be able to add our pinky and remove it, second string, 3rd fret. We also want to take off our ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. Okay, so this note and this note, right? The open 2nd string and the 3rd fret 2nd string are going to be used in our melody notes. That's why we're practicing these different voicings of the A major. For the D, we want to be able to take our finger off of the thinnest string, D sus2, okay? This note is going to come back into melody. And then for our E, we want to add our 2nd fret, 2nd string note with our pinky, the C sharp note. This is going to come back into melody too. So the great thing about this is this entire melody consists of the notes in these 3 chords, plus those little bits of nuance I showed you, right? Let's see what we mean by that. So look at this melody little chart right here. So the tab shows you only the melody notes. So for the first thing is we're going to walk up to this A. When you see this, if you sort of combine those those, if you take that tab and I say read it backwards sometimes, or if you can compress the notes into a single point in time, it's just second fret, and then the second fret on the second string also, but we sometimes are going to have the open second string, right? So you're just walking up the A major chord from the 4th string, 3rd string, open second string, and then second string with the 2nd fret. That's the same notes in this A sus2 and the A, okay? So, that is, you are my sunshine, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret, 2nd fret. We're going to stay on the 2nd string here. 2nd, open, 2nd, right? And then we're going to go to this A again. So I would recommend putting your left hand in the A major shape, even though you're only playing one note. 3rd string, 2nd fret, sunshine. And the reason you want to keep your hand in this shape is because it lets you do this. See how I was doing this little strum of the whole chord there? Right, so. My only sunshine, you make me. Okay, 2nd fret on the 3rd string to open 2nd string to 2nd fret of the 2nd string again. We already did this in the first little count in there, right? You make me. Then we're going to go to the D major shape, but just the melody note is the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Happy, happy. These two notes are in the D major chord. Happy, happy. And walk it down. When skies are. That's going from the D to the D sus2, back to the D, and then back to the A. Okay, so those first 3 measures, if we count in, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. Okay, and you could strum it too, which I'll do in a bit. Then we repeat that little phrase there. What are the lyrics? You only knew, dear. Walk it down again. How much I. Then to the A, 2nd fret is 2nd string is our melody note. Love you, so please don't take, That's the same thing we did the very, very first 4 notes. So please don't take my, going to the A sus4, right? Make my E, sunshine, E add 6, as I noted in my chords. Away, then back to your A. Okay, so the whole thing, if you just did the melody notes, will sound like this. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You only knew, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. Now, if you strummed it, also, what I'm going to do here is do the melody, but every time I get to a 1 count where I do a chord change, I might just add in some strums, loose strums. And a quick note is when we play this, we're only going to play the strum up to the melody note. We're not going to play any notes higher in pitch than the melody note because we want the melody note to ring out loud. So here we go. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, I love you, so please don't take my sunshine away. Okay, so that's how you could do it, and you could get a bit more loose even further. Play with the timing a bit. You can get a little bit loose and just try things out, which is pretty cool. And then the last thing I want to show you here is how you can do the sort of melody note an octave lower. So if we looked at the A major scale, we're going to play the exact same notes we just played in the other melody version, but we're going to play them an octave lower on the fretboard. You can use my Fret Monster tool. It's at fretmonster.net. Just turn it to key of A, and then you can toggle between showing notes or showing intervals of the scale. The main idea is the intervals and the notes are going to be consistent, just an octave lower than what I just did. So this would sound like this. Now that particular one is harder to strum at the same time because you have a lot of these 4th fret notes right here, right? You are my sun. How do you strum an A major with this note in it? There's a way to do it, but it's not as obvious, it's not as intuitive, it's not as easy. What you would do if you wanted to was do an A over C sharp. I'm only strumming the middle 4 strings, 4th, 2nd, 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 but I'm not going to focus on this in the lesson I'm doing right now because it's much more of an advanced thing, and it's not as just, you know, obviously satisfying as something like this. But I wanted to include this tab. Because it can be a great thing to practice for you, and it's just another way to show you that there's usually more than one way to play anything on guitar. So that's going to be it for this lesson here. I'll do one play out of the verse and chorus just to show you how I would sort of play this song myself, if you're curious here. And then after that, I'm going to end the lesson. So thanks very much. Again, get this sheet music on over. The sheet music, the other lesson I made, it's 4 pages. It has everything you need. It has the lyrics, the tabs written out for the melody, the strumming patterns, the chord progressions, the chord shapes. It's all available. It's officially licensed and legal, so the publishers, songwriters are getting paid. I'm getting a share as well. If you're a Patreon member of mine, you save 50% on the purchase. And of course, if you are a Patreon member, you get access to all kinds of other instructional PDFs I've made, right? My non-song lessons that teach you all kinds of essential guitar skills, those are fully available to my Patreon members. One example here, for example, is walk downs and strummy walk downs in the key of A major. I'm recording this one next. But this is just all kinds of cool stuff. It's a 3-pager. You can get this and many, 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 many others available starting on my website, playsongnotes.com. Go there. You can search, you can browse, you can filter. It'll link out to Patreon for my members-only PDFs, and it'll link to music notes to get the licensed PDF. So playsongnotes.com is my website, y'all. Check that out. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.